everyone, welcome back to what I'm teaching this week. Today we're going to be going over all of my second grade lessons for the month of August. For the very beginning of school, we're working on prepping So and Me, figuring out what they remember from the past. Luckily, my first graders were actually really good about coming online during COVID and the whole like shutdown, so they actually remembered more than I was expecting. And yeah, let's hop right on in. So with second graders, they come in the first day, we get our seats, and then we go over briefly all of the rules so that they know, you know, what is okay and what's not okay. With first and second grade, I really do an abridged version of this. With the older kids, we talk more in depth, but with the little kids, I'm like, all right, here are 4 rules, and then we'll do a couple of like, is this respectful? Is that respectful? And there are things like, you know, do we break things? And they're like, no, and I'm like, great. And then we do, as with all of my classes, we bring those things back up as we do different activities. So if we're walking around, how are we walking around responsibly? How are we walking around respectfully? All of those good things. And then we're starting with the song While We Walk. So this is a really easy movement song. I love it. We do it all the time. And it goes, well, you walk and you walk and you walk and you stop. You walk and you walk and you walk and you stop. You walk and you walk and you walk and you stop. You walk and you walk and you walk and you stop. And then you can change it and you can hop and you can jump and you can swim and you can slither, and we do all sorts of different things depending on how much of their energy needs to get out of them. And so that is very, very, very helpful. After that, we go through a couple of other short little things like where to go if there's a fire drill, a couple other things about how we sit and all of those things. And then we go over the song Round and Round. This is one of my new ones that I learned in my Kodai course. And it's so much fun and super simple. So it goes, round and round you must go, boom shakalele chee chee boom. Down Athena you must go, boom shakalele chee chee boom. And so the kids spin in a circle and round and round. I have them drum the boom shakalele chee chee boom on their legs, and then on the down whoever, we call somebody's name and that person sits down. So this I like because it gets them up, it gets them moving. They can usually get that boom shakalele chee chee boom pretty quickly, and so after they get that part, then I'll sing the first and they do the response. I'll do the call, they do the response. And then it helps me to like learn everyone's names because I have to call everybody's names, and so that's really helpful as well. Then after that, I pull out just like a brief little introduction of the song Little Silver Moon. This is one of my favorites, and it goes, little silver moon rides the sky like a boat. Past the twinkling stars it will float, lightly float. Sail little moon boat to the west. Sail little moon boat while I rest. And I have the kids that make, I call them moon arcs across the sky as we sing it a couple of times just to kind of get it in their ear and help them calm down after their fun boom shakalele chee chee boom activity. I will link that down below, by the way, because people keep asking me what the words are, so I will link the Holy Names version of it down below. And then Little Silver Moon, I have a whole video and blog post about that one, so I will just link the video down below so that you can check that out. Athena, by the way, is my dog who is over here destroying a toy on the floor, so we got that going for us. So then on Tuesday, the kids come in, we review our welcome song, which is, well, it's an echo song, so welcome to music, glad you're here, glad you're here. We're gonna do some singing, we're gonna do some singing, we're gonna use our ears, we're gonna use our ears. And then I go, we're gonna have a lot of fun, cause music time has just begun. And then back to I go first then you. Welcome to music, glad you're here, glad you're here. So this one is really simple. I like that it's mostly call and response, because then even if a kid is new and they've never heard it before, they can get it. But honestly, most of my kids actually do remember this, which is good. I mean, I guess we did it like literally every day last year, so there's that. But you know, I really thought they wouldn't remember anything from being online. Then next up, we're pulling out Round and Round again. And this time we're using tambourines so that they can shake on the boom chakalele chee chee boom. And that's just an easy way to add some instruments and have some fun. After that, we are doing, oh, and by the way, how you're supposed to do that, we haven't gotten that quite that far yet, but we are supposed to have the kids do it so they can, you know, they'll say, down Athena, you must go. And then Athena would do the next call. So that's like a solo singing. Right now I'm just singing it by myself, but it's okay. And so then we go over Little Silver Moon as well. I ask a couple of comprehension questions about it, like, you know, why does it say sail little moonboat while I rest? And all of those, by the way, are actually in my Google slide that goes along with it. I will link the lesson pack down below. It has printables, it has presentations to present either chord, it has presentations to present quarter rest in regular and stick notation, and I think digital activities as well. So I will link that down below. And then we pull out the scarves and we do our moon arcs with the scarves, and then we pull out the song A Short Ride in a Fast Machine, and I tell them we're getting in our spaceship and we're gonna move our, you know, move our spaceship, our scarf, all around while we listen to the song, because we're flying from the moon to a star. And so once we land, then they have the scarves, and I tell them to trace the melody to my song, and I sing Starlight, Starbright, which goes, starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Wish I may, wish I might, have this wish I wish tonight. And so they're just moving their scarf up and down, and after a couple of times they can usually figure it out. I also have a whole video about how I use this song in my lesson, so I will link that down below as well. And there also is a lesson pack if you want that one, because we're bringing that back up, back and forth. After we do that, then I pick up all the scarves and we sing Starlight, Starbright, and we play the rhythm. So we review the beat and then we review the rhythm. And then I ask them, I just throw a top on the board and I'm like, who remembers what this is? And actually, like, almost all of them remembered Ta and Titi, and I was like, yes, I have done something, because I don't have kindergarten. So my first graders last year was like the first time I saw them. So I felt very accomplished that they remembered this. And so we learned Ta and Titi. We go over a couple of rhythm cards and I put them up on the board. So I had this, okay, here's a little story time for you. I had this really cool idea where I was gonna make these like Google Slides presentation where like you play a rhythm and then it goes to a star, and then once you have a couple of them it creates a constellation, and then they can learn what the constellation's called, because they learn about all this stuff in their classes. So I wanted to be able to like add to it. And then my projector didn't work, and so that never actually got accomplished. And so instead I have just been taking the rhythm cards, we read the rhythm card, and then I put it up on the board with magnets to make the shape of the Big Dipper. And we talk a little bit about what the Big Dipper is and constellations and stuff like that. And that's pretty much as far as we go. I wanted to do Follow the Drinking Gourd along with it, but we did not have time because my classes are shorter this year. We have like no time for anything. On Wednesday, the kids come in and we are starting with the song Brinca la Tabrita. I'm gonna look at the words to make sure that I do not mess it up, because I think I mess it up every time I sing it. Brinca la Tabrita, yo ya la brinque. Brinque ya que vuelta yo que me cansé. Dos y dos son cuatro, cuatro y dos son seis. Seis y dos son ocho y ocho y 16. So what we do for this is we are doing little teeny tiny hops. And so they go, brinca la tabrita, yo que la brinque. Brinca yo que vuelta, yo que me cansé. And then they do forward. Dos y dos son cuatro, cuatro y dos son seis. And then backwards. Dos y seis son ocho y ocho y 16. So it's that same pattern. You just go side, side, front, back. And we do that a couple of times until they get all nice and warmed out from jumping all around. They take a seat, and then we're pulling out Starlight, Starbright again. And this time, I have them help me. And this time I have them help me figure out what the rhythm is. And so I'm like, okay, if we have star, would that be Ta or Titi? And they're like, Ta. I'm like, great. And so we end up writing like the whole thing on the board, and then we play through it with rhythm cards. So we figure that out and we play the rhythms, and then we move to Here for So and Here for Me, and sing it that way a couple of times. And then I pull up my xylophone and I play the xylophone, and I have them play their lap xylophone, which just literally means on their lap. Basically just mirroring me for what we're doing, and I play it backwards so that they see it correctly. So it's like, starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Wish I may, wish I might, have this wish I wish tonight. All of that stuff, and we do that a couple of times. And then I'm like, great, you're doing such an excellent job that we're gonna see if you can do this now. And so I pull out some glockenspiels, because I figure that's perfect for this little setup and Starlight Starbright, and we talk about the glockenspiel first. So we talk about which side is the high side, which side is the low side, and I have them remember it. I show it to them like a mountain, and I'm like, all right, which side is high? And they're like, up. Which side is low? Down. Great. Where are the high bars? You know, are they the big bars or the small bars? And we kind of just talk through that so they figure it out. And then I turn it sideways, and then they can figure out, oh, this is the high side and this is the low side. Again, because I'm backwards, that works out correctly. And then I have them do it. And so they do it, and at first they just follow me, and then after a couple of times they pretty much got it. I have never done like playing on the xylophones that early and teaching a concept. I usually do it like the last thing, like, okay, now we're gonna play So and Me. But I like it. They learned it much quicker than I thought they would, and they were like really on it, and they just think it's the coolest thing ever. So we do that a couple of times, and then it's pretty much time to go. On Thursday, we start with Brincalata Brita, and if they're doing a good job and I don't think they're going to like run into each other, then we make a big circle and we do it that way. This is a little more complicated because when you're in a circle, your right is not the person across from you's right. So it's a little bit confusing, but we you know, managed to make it work. And then we go through and we play the rhythm for Starlight Starbright again. This time I took the whiteboard where we had written out the rhythm yesterday, and I turn around and I wipe off a couple of them, and then I turn it back around and I'm like, look what I did. And they're like, oh, why would you do that? And it's hilarious. And then I pass them out actually in my Four Corners games. I have these little papers where it has 4 different rhythms and you like fold them. And so I pass out those papers and I just have them fold it, and they either hold up the ta or the TT. And so we go through each one, and when we get to a hole in the rhythm, they hold up either is it a ta or a TT, and you could use, you know, anything that you have that says ta or TT. And I just mark down like who knows which one is which, so that I kind of get a good understanding of who's still understanding a rhythm. I love assessments like that are like still fun, and they're not like, oh, sit here and, you know, use a paper and pencil, but they're still like fun and active, and the kids enjoy them, and I don't even tell them it's an assessment, but it's an assessment for me. And so we go through that, and then after that we grab some instruments and play it on the instruments. And I feel like there was something else we did, but I don't see anything and I can't think about it. So I think that might be all that we accomplished on Thursday. On Friday, the kids come in and we start by listening to Imperial March from Star Wars. So I have them give me 4 actions and I write them on the board. And so they'll pick like stomp, and I'm like, great. So on the A section, we stomp. And then on the B section, we do whatever the second thing is, the third thing is. And then I do a 4th for the interlude. And usually I pick something like wiggle. And so we'll do like this, because the interludes, it just sounds like that. And so, we do that as a really quick warm-up. That's a really easy way to do like literally any song in the whole world that has a specific form. Is really easy. You can do that with, and it's a great time. After that, we are going over some rhythms. Again, it was supposed to be like really cool constellation activity, but you know, it wasn't. And so we've been using either drums or rhythm sticks, just kind of depending on how I'm feeling that day. And we'll play the songs that we've learned this week. We'll play the beat, we'll play the rhythm, we'll play some rhythm cards. I'll write down who is correctly playing and not correctly playing the rhythms that we are working on, so I understand. Oh, I also notate, I want to like have you notice these things so that you know, like, oh, hey, that's a test, that's a grade. When we do the Starlight on glockenspiels, I also write that down, because if they can kind of figure out like, oh, this one's high, this one's low, that tells me if they like have any understanding of what we are doing. After that, then hopefully we have some time to go over Follow the Drinking Gourd, which is one of my favorite spirituals. It is so good. It is like a code. So Follow the Drinking Gourd, a drinking gourd is like a hollowed out gourd that you would use to scoop up water. So like literally a drinking gourd, you drink out of it. And it's a code for the Big Dipper. And it's full of all these different codes, so we could spend, I mean, like days and days on it, and we have done that in the past. For this time, we just did kind of like a short little like introduction. We talk about the Big Dipper, we talk about the code, we listen to the song, talk about how it sounds, and then I'm hoping to pull it back out in a different month and go a little more deeply into it and chit chat about that, because that's a really good one. And it talks about the Underground Railroad, so we can talk about Harriet Tubman and all of that good stuff. Then at the end, we are finally at the end of the week, and so if the kiddos have earned some points, then they will have however many points they earn in minutes of freeze dance usually, but sometimes I let them pick a game. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. But with second grade, usually I'm just like, great, we're playing freeze dance, and they're like, yes. I'm like, awesome. With the older kids, I let them choose, but sometimes it's just easier. And you know, I feel like freeze dance gets a really bad rap, but I love freeze dance and they love freeze dance, so you know what, we're still gonna do it. I just don't pretend that it's educational, it's just for fun. Anyway, so that is my whole first month of second grade. Actually, today I just started my second set of lessons for second grade, so I'm looking forward to sharing those with you at a later date. If you thought this video was helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I do one of these every week where I focus on one grade level for the whole month and tell you like literally everything we're doing, so you can see the process, you can see the assessments, you can see my thinking, you can see what worked and what didn't work, and what I wish would have worked and what I wanted to do, because sometimes, you know, things don't work out how we want them to, and it's okay. So all of those things are good lessons to learn. I also have all of my ones from last year, so you can go check those out, and do be aware that last year we were online pretty much the whole year, so they're a little bit different, but you know, it's okay. So you can still go check those out, and we do a lot of similar activities, it just, you know, through the computer. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.